2 days ago, the XRP ledger activated its permissioned DEX. Yesterday, two SUI ETFs launched on Nasdaq and NYSE with integrated staking, and Ripple just dropped a custody upgrade backed by Swiss military-grade security hardware used by half the world's biggest banks. So here's the question nobody's asking. Is institutional crypto adoption finally moving past the announcements and into actual infrastructure? Let's get into it. So let's talk about what's actually happening on the XRP ledger right now, because there's a lot of noise, and I want to separate the signal. On February 18th, just 2 days ago, the XRPL activated something called the permissioned DEX. And honestly, this is genuinely significant. It creates members-only trading environments restricted to credentialed, KYC-verified participants. Think of it like a private trading floor inside the blockchain. Only accredited institutions get access. And that's just one piece. They've got lending protocols coming in Q1, confidential transfers using zero-knowledge proofs, and $394 million in tokenized real-world assets already on-chain. RLUSD is at 293 million in supply. This is real infrastructure being built. Now, an announcement dropped yesterday from a project called MXI, formerly known as Monerex. They're saying their token is now a, quote, reserve class asset on the XRP ledger, and they're building something called the Delta Wallet for institutional grade DeFi with ISO 20022 alignment. And I gotta be straight with you here, because I actually did the research. The Delta Wallet, listed as coming soon. No public documentation, no confirmed institutional clients. The project has $5,300 in total liquidity across 23 pools. And yeah, there are some real red flags. Scam Detector gives the old Monerex site a score of 20.6 out of 100. Now here's the important nuance on ISO 20022. A lot of people treat this like some kind of crypto certification. It's not. It's a bank-to-bank messaging standard. Matt Hamilton, Ripple's former director of developer relations, actually called the XRP ISO 20022 narrative, and I'm quoting here, a complete charade. The XRPL codebase contains literally nothing to do with ISO 20022. When it went live in November, nothing happened to XRP. Before I get to the next story, quick question for you. Based on what we just covered, do you think the real institutional crypto infrastructure is being built by the blockchains themselves or by the companies stacking products on top of them? Drop your take in the comments before you hear mine. Now you know. The real question from that last section is, where is institutional infrastructure actually working? And that brings us to something that genuinely blew my mind. On February 18th, Canary Capital launched the first ever spot SUI ETF on Nasdaq, ticker SUIS, with integrated staking. And Grayscale launched their own SUI staking ETF on the exact same day on NYSE. Two SUI ETFs with staking launched simultaneously. That has literally never happened for any layer 1 outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Now let me break down why the staking piece matters, because this is structurally novel. BitGo holds the SUI in cold storage as the custodian. They delegate staking rights to Everstake's validators, without the tokens ever leaving custody. Everstake validates transactions on the SUI network and earns staking rewards, which flow directly back into the fund's NAV. So every single day, your shares are worth slightly more SUI. No crypto wallet, no validator selection, no unstaking periods. You just buy it on Nasdaq like you'd buy Apple stock. And Everstake is no joke here. 6.5 billion in staked assets, 85 plus networks. Their new CEO, David Kanitsky, was literally the founding general manager of Grayscale Investments. Plus, he was CEO of Kraken's bank. Zero slashing events ever. SOC 2 certified. This is as institutional as it gets. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give you the other side. SUI's price actually fell on launch day. It's trading below $1 right now. Canary charges 0.75% annually, and if SUI staking yields 7%, that fee eats over 10% of your staking alpha right off the top. And here's the structural concern. 74% of SUI's circulating supply is already staked. The liquid float is razor thin. Even modest ETF inflows could distort the entire market. And honestly, staking rewards are not dividends. They come from token inflation, new SUI being printed. If the token drops 40%, your 7% yield means nothing. So if XRPL has the blockchain infrastructure, and SUI ETFs prove the staking model works inside regulated products, what does the full stack institutional solution actually look like? And that is what Ripple just showed us. On February 9th, Ripple dropped a triple partnership for Ripple custody. First up, Securosys. This is a Swiss cybersecurity company that makes hardware security modules, the physical devices that generate and store private keys in a tamper-resistant environment. And I'm not talking about some startup here. Securosys serves over half of all Tier 1 banks worldwide. Their HSMs are FIPS 140-2 Level 3 certified, which is the gold standard. Private keys never leave the hardware, ever. Second, Figment. $15 to $18 billion in staked assets across 50-plus networks, over 1,000 institutional clients. And here's the key innovation. Figment staking is non-custodial, so banks can stake Ethereum and Solana directly from within Ripple custody, without the assets ever leaving the secure perimeter. Think about what that means. Custody goes from being a pure cost center, just storing stuff, to a revenue generator. Banks can now earn staking yield without touching a single validator. Third, Chainalysis for real-time compliance screening. Every transaction gets checked before it executes. That's security, yield, and compliance, all in one stack. Now here's where you gotta zoom out, because this is the bigger picture. Ripple has spent roughly $4 billion on acquisitions in the last 2 years. Hidden Road for prime brokerage, $3 trillion in annual clearing, G Treasury, $12.5 trillion in payment volume, the DXC partnership, 300 million banking accounts, standard custody for the New York Trust Charter, Palisade for wallet as a service. They are building a Bloomberg terminal for institutional crypto, a single platform where banks can do payments, custody, prime brokerage, treasury, and stablecoins. But let me keep it real, because the competitive picture matters. Fireblocks has 2,400 institutional clients and secures $5 trillion in annual transfers. Ripple custody? Probably dozens of bank clients, not thousands. HSM integration? Fireblocks already has Keylink. Staking inside custody? Fireblocks has offered that for years. So the honest question is, can Ripple integrate all these acquisitions into a cohesive platform before Fireblocks captures the entire market? Look, I gotta be real with you. The infrastructure is being built. Permission DEXs on XRPL, staking ETFs on Nasdaq, Swiss military-grade security for crypto custody. But not every project waving the institutional flag has earned it. Your job, and mine, is to look past the buzzwords and follow the actual plumbing, because that's where the real story is. If this kind of analysis helps you cut through the noise, hit subscribe. And tell me in the comments, which of these 3 stories matters most for your portfolio in 2026? I'll see you in the next one.